Welcome to Democratic License, and on this program we'll present to you global issues that shape our world, issues of international and diplomatic relevance that determine our national and common interest. My name is Tunde, Alabi, your host on this program. Black people appear to have always been victims of marginalization, deprivation, either in the United Kingdom, in America, or even in their own land in Africa or in the Caribbean. The fight for fairness, justice, identity, and equity has always been a long-fought war from the days of Martin Luther King Jr. and the present day of George Floyd in America. In Britain, we have people like Leslie Thomas, Doreen Lawrence, Janet Alder, Dan Abbott MP as black human rights heroes. And in Africa, the fight for freedom, sense of belonging, equity, fairness, and justice is a very, very long-fought war. The likes of Nelson Mandela in South Africa, Obafemi Awolowo in Nigeria, Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana, Patrick Lumumba in Congo, and Jomo Kenyatta in Kenya all fought for Black Lives Matter, the retainment and sustenance of the rights of black people. Even today, we are still fighting for Black Lives Matter, fighting for retainment, fighting for sustenance and preservation of justice, equity, and fairness without a bias for my color, my race, my ethnic background, or even my accent, either in the UK, in the US, in Ghana, Nigeria, or the Caribbean. And joining me on the program today, when we come back from our global update, is Ribeiro Addy. Bell is a member of the British Parliament representing Streatham, the good people of Streatham in London. The Consul General of Nigeria in New York, the United States of America, one of the 4 Nigerian diplomatic representatives in the U.S., Ben Okoye, will also be joining us from the U.S. on the program. But first, before I bring in Bell, who is already joining us, let us look at issues around the world with Sada Dosumu. And when we come back, we'll start the discussion. Don't go away.
A global study has found strong evidence that a new form of the coronavirus has spread from Europe to the United States. The new mutation makes the virus more likely to infect people but does not seem to make them any sicker than the earlier variations of the virus, an international team of researchers reported on Thursday. The study, published in the journal Cell, builds on some earlier work the team did that was released on a preprint server earlier in the year. A growing number of the United States have mandated the use of masks and face coverings while in public. With many states starting to lift coronavirus restrictions, more people are venturing out in public, but the number of cases is still rising in nearly half of them. Patience in lifting coronavirus restrictions is paying off all over the world, according to analysts, but lifting lockdowns too early can have deadly consequences. They said across 18 nations have shown that most of the countries that have now been designated by the European Union as having the epidemic under control only started easing their regulations after seeing sustained drops in daily new cases of the COVID-19. The United States reported more than 55,000 new COVID-19 cases on Thursday, a new deadly global record for the coronavirus pandemic as infections rose in a majority of states. A surge in coronavirus cases over the past week has put President Donald Trump's handling of the crisis under the microscope and led several governors to halt plans to reopen the states after the strict lockdowns. Tokyo confirmed 107 more coronavirus infections on Thursday, the highest daily tally in 2 months in the city at the center of Japan's outbreak. The jump comes after the city of 14 million had initially sought to hold new daily cases at fewer than 20 after the government lifted a state of emergency on May 25, only to see its tally consistently exceed 50 over the past week. And in Africa, the most recent data released by the World Health Organization, WHO, showed just over 415,000 cases on the continent, leading to nearly 10,300 deaths. And that's the global update on coronavirus for now.
All right, welcome back from that trip around the world. A recent review indicated that Black, Asian, and ethnic minority people are up to twice as likely to die of coronavirus in the United Kingdom, in the US, than their white counterparts. Records in the UK and in the US show that there has been disproportionate coronavirus deaths among Black and other ethnic groups. The record further revealed that socio-economic inequality plays greater role, while more Black people would die of COVID-19 than their white counterparts either in the UK or in the US. Is this not another indictment on inequality transparency either in the developed world? Joining the program now is Ribeiro Addy, MP, Member of Parliament in the United Kingdom, who is joining us live from Westminster, London. And also we have Ben Okoye, Nigeria Consul General in New York, live from New York, joining us. Let me start with Bell. Bell, thank you for joining us on the program today. Good to see you, Bell. Hello, Bell.
Hello, sorry, I'm having some issues hearing you.
Yeah, good to see you. Thank you for joining us on the program today. And now we're looking at a recent review which indicated that Black and Asian and ethnic minority people are up to twice as likely to die of COVID-19 in the UK
Sure.
and around the world. Now, is this not a kind of indictment on inequality transparency in the United Kingdom? Talk us through some of those challenges.
Well, at the moment, as you said, we're facing very, very dire issues in terms of the Black, Asian and minority ethnic community and they're contracting the coronavirus. A lot of it has to do with deprivation. I think the Public Health England report that was released showed that it was people that were living in the most deprived areas of the country. And naturally, because of racism, we're finding that people from these communities are pushed into those areas, as well as lower paid jobs. And those lower paid jobs are the workers who actually during the lockdown were considered key workers and still having to go out. So our NHS workers, delivery workers, cleaners, all of these different areas where you have high numbers of Black, Asian, minority people working, constantly being exposed to the virus. And that's part of the reason why there's been such large disproportionate number of deaths in those particular communities. And and despite all of the evidence that's released, it seemed to have taken the government too long to make any specific recommendations specifically for those communities. I think that's been very, very unfair. When we realised that people with underlying health conditions such as diabetes were more susceptible to disease, we made sure that we took measures to protect them. When we realised that elderly people were more susceptible, measures were taken to protect them. However, we realised that it's affecting BAME people. The government haven't taken the same measures despite recommendations being released. Now, no one's suggesting that we should have a lockdown for every single Black person in this country, but we know those and those in which groups and which areas of employment are most susceptible, and we should be making a particular effort to shield them and save those lives. It just always seems to be so very difficult when it comes to Black people, so difficult when it comes to enforcing these issues of equality.
So difficult when enforcing this issue of equality. But recently, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson set up a new commission, not minding the fact that we've had a couple of other commissions, including many other commissions that have looked into the issue of inequality in the Black, Asian and ethnic community in the United Kingdom. How far do you think these commission that has been set up to review Black inequality in the United Kingdom, to raise the standard, can actually go to deal with inequality, social economic inequality among Black people in the UK?
Well, actually, I think the setting up of another commission is just another delay tactic. It's ridiculous. We've had review after review, inquiry after inquiry over decades, and all of them have produced, recommendations which should be applied across all government departments. But they're simply not doing that because, as we know, any different measures will cost money, and it seems as there's an unwillingness to invest in these issues of equality. And so actually the cheapest option for the government is just to have another commission, just another talking shop where we list all of the inequalities again. But we don't need any more lists as to, what are the issues within our communities. We do, however, need action. And you've seen a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests that have been happening across the country and actually across the world. And yes, they were sparked by the murder of George Floyd at the hands of the police. However, they're not just about that. They are about tackling racial inequality overall, because we know that racism doesn't just end with police-state violence. It's a holistic issue. There are so many areas in which we're discriminated against: housing, employment, education. All of these different areas need to be addressed, and there are clear recommendations on how to do that. They're just not being implemented.
Well, how long will this fight continue? This has been a very long fought war. We know how long it took for Dan Abbott to come to the House of Parliament, how long it took for another black person to join her in the British Parliament. How long more are we going to have this issue of inequality among black people, poverty, homelessness? It's getting higher, even in the criminal justice. How long more are we going to have this fight continue before black people continue to occupy almost the same equal space as their white counterparts everywhere, anywhere in the world, even in the Caribbean, even in Africa?
I mean, I think it's very difficult to put a time frame on when we will actually get justice. Obviously, I do know that in particular, in the UK in particular, the past 10 years, the issue of austerity has affected our communities even more. So a lot of the gains that we made for racial equality were rolled back on just purely because of government investment. But I'm very encouraged by a lot of the activism and the Black Lives Matter protests that we're seeing and have seen over the past few weeks. All of those actions and activism that are making clear that we're not going to stop fighting until we have that equality that we deserve.
Right, Belle, I want you to stay on the line. Let me quickly go to New York, where I do have Belle Okore, the Consul General, Nigeria Consul General in New York, joining us on the program. Belle, thank you for joining us on the program. I mean, you've listened to Belle. You, as the Nigerian Consul General in the United States, tell us what challenges are black people, Nigerians, Ghanaians facing at a time like this, when we've got reports indicting, well, let me not say indicting, confirming the fact that black people are susceptible to more death than their white counterparts.
Thank you very much for having me on your platform. And I want to say that not just the black community that is affected by the coronavirus, is across all board. But we are more interested in what happened to our people.
Black folks out there.
Black folks.
Yeah.
Yes. We are. It is actually very unfortunate that we are also badly hit in this virus. It goes to show that we need to pay attention to our people wherever we are, and in wherever locations we are doing our jobs, we pay more attention to their welfare and be supportive to what happened to them in their various communities.
But I'm sorry for cutting you short. I mean, paying attention to the welfare of our people across the world is very important. Lately, we saw people attacking Nigerian embassy in Jakarta, Indonesia, for poor attention of the embassy towards the welfare of the people. We saw same thing in the UK. Several times people have gone to complain about the treatment of Nigerians in the United Kingdom. How much of attention is a council paying to the welfare, the social well-being of the black people, more specifically Nigerian in New York at this time, especially at a time as this?
If you monitor what has been happening throughout the period of the coronavirus, our government have been very, very sensitive. The President of the Republic of Nigeria has paid so much attention to what happened to Nigerians in diaspora. In New York alone, we have been able to arrange to evacuate stranded Nigerians 3 times. One has been already taken place today. We are going to do another one in New York. On the 17th, there will be another set of evacuation. So we have over 700 Nigerians who are stranded in the United States of America. And if the government is not sensitive, who are not paying attention, would not have been rendering this kind of services. The president clearly directed, and we have the instruction from the Minister of Foreign Affairs to pay attention to what happened to Nigeria. So we have been very, very open and accessible to Nigerians' plight, wherever they are, not just in the United States of America, but in my consulate in New York, we have been accessing and making ourselves available to Nigerians and care about their welfare.
All right, let me quickly go back to Bell in London. Bell, thank you so much for waiting and for joining us. Do I still have Bell there? All right. Oh, Bell is gone. Okay, all right. Let me still with the Consul General here. Bell appears to have gone. All right. Let's talk us through Nigerians that are going to be evacuated from New York today. How many of them? What is their situation at the moment with these people?
Yeah, the flight that is being concluded to take off today to Lagos, we have about over 300 passengers who have bought their tickets. But we can only get the right figure after they have checked in to get the appropriate figure of those who are to be evacuated. But our interactions with them, our preparatory activities with them, it has been full of excitement. They want to go back home, and that shows that they pay so much love for their country, and that's an encouraging fact for what is going on all over the world. So Nigerians have taken up, Nigerian government have taken up the challenge to do this at this critical point in time. And this is something that we need to commend the government for.
Let's look beyond those that are going to be evacuated today. Let's look at the general well-being of Nigerians in the United States of America, especially in your consulate in New York. Do you have a record of Nigerians that have been critically affected by COVID-19, that will require some support either from the Nigerian government or are waiting on the U.S. government to support them?
Yeah, when you talk about those who are critically affected, first we have to talk about those who are stranded. That's the first set of people who are affected by the coronavirus because they have been displaced. They've been trying to get back home because of the movement restriction. They are unable to do so. That's the first set we can see. So there are so many numbers, like I mentioned earlier. Over 700 are registered with us, but the numbers we are seeing are far more than that, because not only those who have registered with us are buying the tickets, but they just come up, new registrations going on, the numbers are going up. We have arranged for 3 flights, but up to this hour, the inquiries are still coming. The people are still calling for more flights to be evacuated from the United States of America. In terms of the health-wise, yes, there are a lot of people who have been affected, even Nigerians, some who have recorded some deaths. I can't give you the figure now, but there's a lot that's also affected by the coronavirus, like any other group, in the world. Now,
talking about social inequality, we heard Bell speaking to us about some of the challenges that they face in the United Kingdom. Now, let's come back even to us in Nigeria and to Nigerians in the United States. Even though they say America is a land of opportunity for all, tell us some of the social economic challenges Nigerians face in New York, in the United States, that I'm sure that they come to your consulate to seek some kind of support and assistance. How easy has it been for Nigerians, even beyond the COVID-19 time in the US?
Well, I don't know if it is something that we have to situate on Nigerians alone. It is inequality is something general for citizens across the world. Nigerians have always competed favorably with any of their peers anywhere given the right opportunity. Yes, one or two people may have challenges. We've been dealing with one or two and all of that, but then it is not peculiar to Nigerians. So I can't say, yes, Nigerians are suffering in the United States of America. Nigerians given opportunity are doing well. As so many Nigerians who have made us so proud, in the United States of America. They've been very supportive to what we do, the work we do in this United States of America. And we've been interacting in different fora. And the story I have for Nigerians in the United States is very positive. And I don't see the aspect of the inequalities as badly affecting Nigerians as citizens in the world.
All right, but before I let you go, because of our time, Hush Puppy, I'm sure that name sounds very familiar to you. Hush Puppy, recently, just yesterday, extradited to the United Kingdom from Dubai for fraudulent activity, scamming people in Nigeria. Is there a kind of relationship between the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the arrest of Hush Puppy and the embassy there, and how much damage do you think this has brought on Nigeria, on Nigerians in the United States?
Sorry, I didn't get your...
No, I'm talking about Hush Puppy. You are aware of the arrest and extradition of Hush Puppy and Nigeria?
I'm not hearing you.
Okay, I'm talking about the extradition of Hush Puppy, a Nigerian extradited from Dubai to the United States about 2 days ago. You heard that story? The Nigerians...
You are off. I'm not getting you.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Quickly, let's look at the activities of Nigerians in the United States of America, in the US. How much of it is impacting on Nigeria back home in Nigeria in terms of sending money back home? How much of that has made impact on Nigeria from the US?
What I can hear you are saying is how much of impact is that making for Nigerians back in the
in Nigeria? Yes, it appears you're not getting me. Now, my first question was the impact of the extradition of Hush Puppy, a Nigerian extradited from Dubai to the United States of America by FBI for scamming innocent American. What impact will it have on Nigerians in the US? Do you get that?
What impact would they have it on Nigerians?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if I'm getting you well. Let me attempt an answer to you. Yeah, thanks so much. You are asking if, I don't know, to some reason the audio is not getting...
All right. Okay, I'm sorry, it appears I need to let you go now, sir. Thank you so much for your time on the program. I need to let you go now. You've actually done very well. Thank you for joining us on the program. Unfortunately, the audio seems to be a little bit... Thank you so much, sir, for your time. I have been speaking with Ben Okoye, the Nigerian Consul General in New York, live from New York. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. We'll surely bring you back to talk about some of these issues again at some other time. Thank you, sir. And have been speaking with Ribeiro Addy, a member of British Parliament, who called in live from Westminster, and she's been talking about social inequalities and